Hey everyone, it's Kathy Mazak, and today's video is about how to create a dedicated work at home space. Now, I am completely aware of all the restrictions, maybe not completely, but I'm trying to be aware of all the restrictions that you might have while you are trying to find a spot in your house to work from home. So we have restrictions like other family members who are around. We have restrictions in terms of the actual space that we have available to us, right? Like some people probably already have a home office. Other people do not have a living space that is equipped for them to be working from home. So I want to address kind of ideas for all of those different possible circumstances. And I would love to hear your ideas in the comments in terms of what you're doing to create a dedicated work at home space to get through this quarantine time around the coronavirus. So let's start with why you should have a dedicated work at home space. So some of us think that the great thing about working at home is that we can do it from the sofa or we can do it from our bed. And all of that is absolutely true. But if we're going to be working from home for a long time, so it's not just like a week, it'll probably be 3 weeks. I just heard that the CDC is recommending longer than that. So let's imagine that you have to be working from home for a long time, right? Weeks and weeks. One of the things that's going to happen, and I'll tell you this because of my experience working from home, is that you'll start to feel like there's nothing that marks your hours in the day. Like there's no schedule, things start to get blurry. You are going to work in your pajamas, like all of those things. And something that I have found that's been really helpful for me is to set up a space at home where when I arrive to that space, that is work time. I have the things that I need around me and I'm ready to work at that time. And similarly, and you can experiment with this, but similarly, I think that we need to get dressed in the morning, take showers. If you're somebody who puts makeup on, put makeup on. And I'm saying this because I have experienced myself from working at home this kind of I can just be in my workout clothes all day and nobody really cares or really knows. And that is okay for a short amount of time, but eventually kind of starts to affect your motivation and your self-esteem. So we want to have a work at home space that's dedicated to working at home because it helps us to kind of shift our mindset. And oh my gosh, my dogs are going crazy. I don't know if you can hear that. Shift our mindset, figure out make demarcations between I am having breakfast and now I am working. Okay, so those are some of the reasons, you want to keep your motivation up. You want to say, I am a professional. I come to work, whether it is online or physically at the university. I show up to work and I do it and I have a place for that. So let's talk about what the space needs to be. Of course, not everyone has a room, right? Not everybody, I have this room and I'll tell you the backstory to this room in a minute, but I have a home office. You can see back there is my daughter's desk. I have it's not clean. That's my 13-year-old's desk with her Harry Potter calendar, our printer, and all of her art supplies on it because we don't have a space for her to have a desk in her room. So we share this because I figure, I'm usually working during working hours and she's working on school stuff in after school hours. So we kind of can both use this space. Of course, very few people have a work at home space, right? So what you want to do is you want to figure out a way to create a little space for yourself. And I'm going to give you 3 kind of levels of space creation, okay? Excuse me. So one, of course, is to just create a space on your dining room table or in your living room that is dedicated to your work. And when you sit there, you are doing work. This is for people who don't have another option. Like they don't have another space in another place with a door, which is ideal, right? A door that you can close. If you don't have that option because of your living situation, and you have to do it on your kitchen table or your dining room table or in a certain chair in the living room, then so be it. So here's what you need to do to create that. And then I'll move on to other versions, right? So when I first started working at home, I didn't have a home office. And so I was actually working from my dining room table. So we have like a great room style thing where we have like a big table. I have 3 kids, so there's 5 of us at home. I have a big long table, and basically I opened up all the leaves of that big long table, which by the way is an IKEA table, just in case you want to know. I put all the leaves in it, and I kind of made the end of it be my workspace. And I want you to think about ways that you can actually delineate, physically mark that is your workspace. Something as simple as put a placemat under your computer. Like this is where now I'm going to be. You could even use like washi tape or masking tape, right? To masking tape it off and say like, okay, this is my work area as part of the table, right? And then you want to bring into it some things that will make you happy and productive. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to get it for you in a nice way, but I use like a file organizer for like those things like that would normally be like hanging out all over my desk, but that I use every day. So I have this file organizer thing. It has my calendar, my paper calendar in it. It has my iPad in it, and it has like a folder actually for paperwork for 2019 taxes, because those are the hot things that I need to deal with. And so that's something that, you might have around your house already, like a magazine rack or any kind of little thingy. Here, I'll show you mine. Of course, I got this from Marshall's before all of this started. Isn't it pretty? So this is just like a file folder thing that cost me $12. Obviously, you can't get one right now because you can't go out of your house. But you could source one in your home. Look around and find one. You could also alternatively have like a little basket or a tray or whatever, because what you want to do is just have a demarcated space with things around you contained. So a basket, a file folder thingy rack thing that I just showed you, or whatever. Try to find a way to, have a spot for your papers, books that you're currently using, erasers, pencils, a notebook, whatever you would keep normally like on your desk available to you. But you want to do it. What I learned from a professional organizer is everything just needs to have like a space to be. It needs to be contained in some way. So by using a placemat or drawing something with tape, you are containing your space. You're saying like, okay, this is my space. And here in this basket or in this little file rack are the things I need to do my job. You have your pencil, holder or whatever nearby, your coffee mug. I'll show you mine. You have your pencil holder, which also, of course, has my nail file in it. On one side of my desk, I have my coffee mug always with me and my glass for drinking water. And this is my spot. Okay, so you can do that in an office like I'm doing it, or you can do it on your table. Now let's talk about kids. One of the things we're going to need to do during this time is relearn how to be around each other at home. And I'm telling you, like, I'm not great at this. It's not perfect, but we need to be able to say to kids, like, when mommy's sitting here, also this goes for husbands and wives, like, when I'm sitting here, I'm working, okay? So that it doesn't mean that they won't try to interrupt you or just talk to you because you're in the room. It doesn't mean that. But you want to start training people around you to respect that when you're in this space, it's working time. You might want to get yourself some headphones so that even even if there's nothing playing in the headphones, when somebody's wearing headphones, people kind of think like, oh, they can't hear me. So that's a way to stop people from talking to you if you don't want them to talk to you. So obviously for people who don't have a way to set up an at-home workspace that you can close the door, you're doing the best that you can. Okay. The next level is, can you find a space in your home that you can create a workspace for yourself where there isn't usually one? So things that you could do, the corner of the bedroom, right? Something where you can close the door. Even like this, like, please like take all of this with a grain of salt. What I'm trying to do is give strategies that people in different living conditions could implement. So if you are privileged to have some space where you could close the door, including a walk-in closet, including a corner of your bedroom, or even like the corner of a kid's room, and I'll explain that in a second, then, that would be better than the kitchen table, right? If you can close the door. Now, if you got little kids and you need to be with them and you're the only one who's the only adult in the house, then you might have to set up on the kitchen table. But if you can possibly do kind of like alternate with your spouse or other adults who live in your house, and so you have some times that you're closing the door and other times that they're closing the door, then that could work out really, really nicely. And I've been doing videos. I'm going to continue to do videos. One of the videos I did last week, I suggested you can't work for 8 hours a day and you can't sit at the end of your kitchen table and work for 8 hours a day. You're going to have to break things up differently and take a different attitude towards working from home than you took towards going physically to the university for 8 hours and coming home. So check out my other videos. I made a YouTube list with them, and you can also scroll back in Facebook and find them. You just are going to need to figure out, like, be creative and figure out ways to alternate with other adults in your house if you can. So if I didn't have this room, I would probably have moved a small desk, or like I have those like TV trays, and I probably would have created a desk with TV trays. So like one for your computer, one for in front of your computer, and one on each side for your stuff. With just like regular, like I call them TV trays, like those little trays that go on a rack. So we have some of those. So that's what I would have done. And I would have done it in the corner of my bedroom. I would have just like moved whatever's in that corner right now aside, and I would have created a little space for myself. And that gives me the benefit of having the door. Okay. So that's kind of level 2. If you have the ability to do that, then that's great, because then you can close a door between you and the other people who are at home with you. And then I want to talk about setting up a home office temporarily in a room that you dedicate to that or partially dedicate to that. So the room that I'm sitting in now was my daughter's room, my smallest daughter. I have 3 kids. I have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And this was the 4-year-old's room. It's connected with a bathroom to the 13-year-old's room. And after let's see, I had been running the business from my kitchen table, doing like 100% online. I'm on a leave of absence from the university. So like I'm doing this full time. I was doing it from my kitchen table since all this time. But even having said like, okay, I'm not going to the university at all. I'm on a leave of absence. I'm going to be home all the time. I still was working at the table because I was like, well, but the kids need their room and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, no, actually, this is mommy's job. So I am privileged enough and lucky enough to have a home that has multiple bedrooms in it. And so the 2 girls are sharing. So the 13-year-old and the 4-year-old are now sharing a room. And so basically we moved the 4-year-old out, and this became my office with a corner for my 13-year-old to also have a desk. So what I'm suggesting here for you is to consider, like, can you move kids into one room so that you and maybe your spouse or other adults who live in your house could have a spot that's dedicated temporarily to to being in office, that you can close the door. That would be kind of ideal. Like if you don't already have a home office, then setting up something and telling the kids, this is temporary, kids, like this is different. We're doing things differently. Similarly, if you have kids, like I would set up like a little homeschool area if you can, even if it's a blanket on the floor in the living room. Like, like just having a designated space for doing these different things that we're not used to doing from home, I think is super, super important. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the comments. Yukaiko says, so true. If I get in work mode, that means getting dressed and working in a quiet working space. Yeah, I mean, we can't all make sure all the time that the working space is quiet, although headphones, noise canceling headphones if you have them. But yes, it absolutely makes sense to prioritize this because you're going to feel better. Like seriously, like I don't like when I'm admitting over the internet that sometimes I just don't shower. like because you never leave the house. Like why would I shower? I'm showering because and I'm putting on actual clothes. I'm not wearing pajama bottoms. I am wearing shorts. It's 80 here. So I live in Puerto Rico. So like I'm not wearing shoes, I'm wearing flip-flops, but I put on an actual blouse that if I was going to the university, I would put a sweater or a jacket over it, and I would be wearing long pants. But like I blow dry my hair, I put makeup on, and I got dressed. Like I think that's really important, and you're gonna find like in a week you're gonna be like, oh yeah, Kathy said get dressed, because you're gonna get into this rhythm, this pattern of like I'll wear my workout clothes, wear my pajamas all day. Because it's novel. We don't know what this is like, right? Like we haven't been in quarantine before. So this is something that my husband would be mortified about me talking about no shower days. But anyway, seriously, like sometimes we kind of get lax. And my 13-year-old came in and she was like, look at me. And I'm like, what? Because she's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. And I'm like, she's like, I'm dressed, but I don't have to go anywhere. I'm like, you should get dressed. Like we should all get dressed every day because we're going to get depressed if we spend, which is also okay, if we spend a lot of time in pajamas over the next how many ever weeks. Okay, Trisha says, I am terrible about getting out of my PJs or workout clothes at home. We'll try to change that going forward. Yeah, like I would say like, wash your face, put on some lip gloss, wear an actual shirt that's not a pajamas, and you are just gonna feel better. You're like, now I'm at work. Do you have, like, everybody has seen that meme? Have you seen that meme going around that's like professors, giving class online, and it's this guy with like a suit jacket and tie and like 2 pillows and his laptop on his lap, and then he's like in his underwear, right, sitting on his sofa. Like you can totally do that. But what I'm suggesting is that without a dedicated workspace, without getting up and getting dressed every day, you're going to start to get kind of pulled down. And that's what we want to avoid. And so when you have that workspace going, and we're going to be talking about this more, and I'm going to be talking very, very specifically about writing at this time in a webinar, because I feel like I need lots of time to talk about it. So in a webinar, that's free on Monday. So watch this page because there's going to be webinar registration coming today or tomorrow. We're building the registration page and all of that stuff. And yes, exactly. It's like priming the brain to get into work mode. It's like clicking, like now I'm working, and then here's the other important part of this. When you stand up and you leave that space, you're telling your brain, now I'm not in work mode. Now I'm having a snack. Now I'm taking a walk. Now I'm, resting, or I'm going to do a puzzle with the kids, or whatever, or I'm going to help the kids with the homeschooling stuff that their school has sent. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. So yeah. Hi, Arthi. So yes, I also use a shower as a break. And my hair is actually wet right now. I did blow the front out, but between, like, I got up, I sat this morning, what I did. And again, like, if you're new to me and my videos, like I am a tenured full professor. I've taken a leave of absence to develop my online, writing coaching business for academic women. And so that's how you're watching this free content, is that I have a business that I offer professional development programs, and some people will enroll in the programs. And then, but meanwhile, I'm just creating free stuff for people. And then a subset of you will also, oh no, there is somebody. Okay, anyway, so I'm creating all this free stuff because a subset of you will come and, participate in my programs. Anyway, I have been doing this for so long, for this, I've been working at home this year, and all of this advice kind of comes from there. So, all right. Thank you so much for coming live. Soon you will get the registration link for the Monday webinar. The Monday webinar is about writing in this time. So it's time to, like, we're doing these live videos about different things, different aspects of working from home. We are going to talk tomorrow about your tenure clock during this time of global crisis. We're going to talk about mindset shifts for working at home. We're going to talk about managing a research team remotely. We're going to talk about using Trello to work remotely with dissertating students. And we're going to be talking about using free calendar software to make meetings with people online. So we'll do all those videos during different times this week. Just like the page and follow, and then come to our webinar on Monday. More information to follow. Have a great day. Thanks for showing up. Bye.